Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Friday Feedback Forum. For this week, we call it FFF. And thank you guys all for joining. I know it's a Friday, and we're glad and excited y'all are able to join us. For today's agenda, what we're covering is that we're going to provide you all a couple updates in regards to Canvas, as well as some announcements. And we're also going to provide a lot of great valuable resources in that transition to Canvas, LMSs, as well as provide kind of a room for a feedback forum to kind of get your takes, your reviews, your experiences, kind of for you to kind of share some of your experiences with Canvas, the LMS itself. Moving on. Some of the questions that we're going to actually go over, I'm going to preview them now. For those of you who are attending and participating, we kind of want to give you a preview of the question. So you actually have this kind of at the back of your mind so that, you know, to really think and actually hold and have this conversation. They're going to use these as guiding questions to help this conversation and have a really, you know, impactful and also very effective feedback forum. I'm going to leave this up here for a couple of seconds so you kind of get some of the questions, get the ball rolling, and let us sink in a bit. Because this will be asked when we have the feedback form portion of the presentation. Okay, moving on. Some updates we wanted to provide you all in regards to the migration from the Beachboard to Canvas migration of your courses. Currently, some of the completed migrations are winter 2022 courses, fall 2021, spring 2022 courses, CPACE courses, as well as the summer 2021 courses. And summer 2022 courses are currently in progress. We're working on that right now. And for the next slide would be, I'll pass it on to Jennifer to kind of go over the remainder of the presentation.
Hello, welcome to the session, and my name is Jennifer. I'm one of the instructional designers. So some additional announcements that we wanted to make today are just reminding people that Canvas, or I should say specifically for instructors or anyone who's teaching in the coming semesters, that it is optional at this point in time until its full transition in summer 23. And we do encourage you with that note to start your transition sooner rather than later. And that transition can include just looking at trainings right now, just looking at a sandbox course, whatever your preference is in making a slow transition. We're encouraging you to do that sooner rather than later so you're not bombarded by feeling overwhelmed by learning this new tool. So again, you can request a sandbox if you haven't already got one. Most instructors should have one already available to them by now, and you can access it through your sandbox. The next thing is that oh yes, so we are actually providing all faculty with the sandbox. If you are not faculty, you can definitely request one from us and we will be happy to provide that for you. And we'll provide a link on how to get one of those, or if maybe you need another one because you want to create a masterclass, which is similar to what you've done before in Beachboard and things like that, you can definitely request that from us. And in the process, we are also just asking to, to feel free to use this time, if you've already been using Canvas, to think of some things that you've encountered that you'd like to let us know about as far as challenges or issues. And then lastly, the migration is going to be happening. Materials will be in there from before spring 2021. As it stands, we have an agreement with a third-party company that's assisting us with this transition. And if there's anything prior to the 2021 spring semester that you are needing, please let us know, and we'll also share that resource for making that request. And thank you for the next slide. These are the links for those, and Chad, if you don't mind going in and posting those links for us, we're going to put them in the chat here for your reference to start collecting if you want to bookmark any of these. Again, if you need to request any additional development shells, you want to request a course migration, which is to take a class from Beachboard from the spring, prior to spring 2021 that needs to come over because you want to have a record of that in your Canvas section, please feel free to let us know, and then we can use this request to assist with that. We also have course layouts in Canvas now. If you are familiar with the templates that we had in Beachboard, this is similar to that with a beginner and advanced option to be able to copy over into your courses if you don't want to start from scratch or test out and play with right now. You can definitely utilize those. And then if you have more sections of maybe the same class, but you just want to merge them all together, there is a course merge option if you would like to do that in a coming semester while you test out the Canvas courses or the Canvas LMS tool. Next slide, please. And so now we're going to go ahead and let you all talk. I know there's only a couple of you in here right now, so please feel free to either use the chat box if you're comfortable with that, or if you are also comfortable with unmuting yourself and asking your questions or making your statements out loud, please feel free to do so. So the first question that we have is, how is your transition to Canvas going so far? How many of you are, if you're not using Canvas yet, do you plan to use it in the upcoming semesters? Go ahead,
This
Claire.
is Louis.
Oh, okay, go ahead, Louis. Claire, we'll have you next.
So I've been using Canvas and it's actually good. However, I don't so there's a few things that I don't think they're really intuitive with regards to, just little things that, we were used to, I suppose, on Beachboard. One of the things that I would say, right, so moving exams, for example, from Beachboard to Canvas, I just had to do this earlier, and it wasn't an intuitive process at all, right? The other thing is that not everybody uses a Windows ecosystem. So I have a Mac ecosystem, and it was a whole process of essentially, running it through a Windows, using Respondus, then zipping the whole exam on a zip file, and then uploading it using Respondus. And, again, for someone that, is in this technology field, I think, again, I was able to figure it out. Everyone else, I think it will be a really frustrating steps for them to do so. And, I really think that this needs to be a lot more intuitive. The other item that I would say I have a feedback, so I teach cybersecurity, and with that comes essentially, some set of security controls and features. And I actually put in a ticket at the beginning of the semester, and I still haven't gotten it resolved. And that being able to remove students from the class if they drop, right? Because again, confidentiality of, sensitive information that we may be sharing. If a student drop the class, they don't have a need to know. And that has not been fixed.
Okay. And when did you submit this ticket? Did you put it in with our help desk?
Yes. And I submitted at the beginning of the semester. I believe it was either the first or second week.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for the input, Professor. For that ticket, we're just gonna have to follow up with you and try to see what the process and kind of where that ticket is currently, where it's standing. We do understand the frustration and the security implications and the difficulties and challenges that comes with posing a security issue. So that we'll definitely get back to you. I think we have your email. It should be Louis dot your last name .csub.edu. Is that correct, Professor?
Correct.
Okay, yeah, like again, we apologize. It's something we have to get back to you on. And if it's something you submitted in the beginning of the semester in regards to that, we'll definitely take a look and see where it's setting in the progress. But thank you for sharing some of your experiences and answering concern.
And then I guess just lastly, before I let someone else have the floor, but with regards to the exams as well. So when you transfer, when you make the transfer of exams from Beachboard to Canvas, there are some questions that I guess they are not able to, make the conversion. So therefore, I had to drop those questions because it didn't let me export everything.
hmm
Right.
Do you
So
remember what, I'm sorry, do you remember what type of questions they were?
I would have to go and look back. I
Okay.
actually do not remember.
Okay, that's fine. No worries.
yeah, just to add on to that, Professor, I know that Likert is not supported in the Canvas multi select. It copies over, but let's say you're doing a multi-answer and you're kind of categorizing it and ranking it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The question copies over, but the answers for each of the number rankings, they're not going to show up the responses or the options or the choices you have for the students. That's not going to show up. You kind of retype it. So we hear you. You know, not almost every question type that you had in Beachboard is successfully converted or is supported in Canvas, and that's something that we're kind of mentioning and aware of. But it's just the if it's not supported in Canvas, it's either it's a rework, restructuring that question to where it fits in Canvas, which is a work in itself, and we do want to be mindful of that. But there's just some questions that are not supported when you transfer over or when you're copying over courses from Beachboard to Canvas.
Okay, thank you.
hmm
And then real quick, I just wanted to chime in. Hi, I'm Sabrina. I'm one of the lead instructional designers. So our LMS team, some of our staff are here, but in the chat, Diana noted that the feeds in the Canvas should actually automatically drop students once they've been dropped in PeopleSoft. So if that's not happening, we'll probably need to know which specific students you're seeing that have been dropped that aren't showing up, that are still showing up in your class. So if you do have that issue, we'll probably just need to know the specific students for your class.
Will do, thank you.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay, and I think Claire had her hand up next. Go ahead, Claire.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so just let me build on Lewis real quick, and then I'm gonna go on to what let me turn off that. There were some exam questions that did not carry over, and it was specific to images.
hmm
So, like it has that image and it's like a cracked thing in the middle. And I didn't know that that happened until students said, I can't see the image when the exam happened. So definitely I had to go in there and fix things. I was wondering if it had to do with accessibility, or is that just an automatic thing from Beachboard to Canvas where images are not transferred over with respect to exams and quizzes?
Professor, is this a course that was migrated over automatically, or was this a course that you manually imported into Canvas?
So I've been teaching Canvas since summer, and I believe I got the assistance for migration to migrate it because I didn't know how to do that back then. So I was just wondering because yeah, and I had several of them in there, and so it just made it hard to go through all the exams because I have random questions, so that took a lot of work for me. And had I known that ahead of time, it would have been great because I could see it on my end, but when I guess launched it, I don't know, they're like, we can't see it. So then when I went in student view, I saw what they were looking at, which was, no image at all. So I was wondering, why that happened, but I fixed it. But it's just, it would have been good to know ahead of time so that I didn't have to go through all those exams and fix them and then re-upload and et cetera, et cetera. It's just a lot of work. But overall, like Canvas, there's some good stuff, there's some bad stuff. I do miss this Beachboard, and I'm pretty sure you're hearing that a lot. I forgot if the 3 questions, there was some feedback, and I think there might be like the last question, and right in this.
Oh yeah, we're going one at a time. So if Yeah, it's just, you don't have to remember them, but if you want to give us some feedback, that's fine.
Okay, because I was like,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know, I don't remember what those other questions were.
yeah,
But
it's okay.
transition, I think, ATS has been really good in terms of providing that support, migrating those things. So I really appreciate that. I think that's going to be really helpful for faculty, especially those who are not comfortable with technology. So I do really appreciate the support and always a lot of outreach going on, which I think is important. Out of all the classes, with all the classes I'm teaching, I do ask students, how many of you have an instructor who's using this? And I'm the only one.
Mm.
So, and then our chair said, I think a third of all classes, right, have gone through Canvas. So, and I'm something I have to consider in my evaluation is I'm the only one who's teaching in Canvas and they're learning it at the same time.
Mhm.
I think it's important that faculty also be aware that that could have an impact on their evaluation if they're having difficulty navigating Canvas, especially if they're not familiar with that. So I do tell them I'm new at this, I'm learning, and I appreciate anything that they can help if they're familiar with it or not, but this is what's going on. And I was going to be flexible and understanding of them if they could do the same thing for me. Because it's a learning process for everyone. And I understand that, and we're not perfect. I thought I said that.
Okay.
So some things, can I just say a couple of things, several things that are kind of making it a little bit hard for me.
Okay.
When I send emails to students, I can't, why does that keep happening? Sorry.
It's okay. You're fine.
Where is that coming from? I have my emails closed off. It might be something else. When I send emails through Canvas, hyperlinks, I can't do hyperlinks. And so when I send like a link to something, it's the whole shebang on there. And so that is funky. And it looks just like students have to copy the whole link and paste. So unless there's any other way, I mean, I was in Inbox and I was like, where can I make this link into a hyperlink like I could do for other areas of Canvas? Does anyone know if that's possible or that's not possible?
And this is specifically towards the inbox, right? Within Canvas of communications.
Yeah. So if I'm in Canvas and then I send out an email and I have a hyperlink, there's no ability to, I mean, not a hyperlink, but like a URL. There's no way to make that a hyperlink. Unless there is a way that you know of. And if not, can you please add that or?
So you weren't able to see in the HTML editor an option to like a link function?
No. So if any of you can go in right now and pretend you're doing, so Chad is saying no, right?
Yeah, I'm just testing it now. You're right. There is no obvious way to create a hyperlink in an inbox email. And that we can pass that back to Canvas and ask why that is.
Yeah, because Beachboard, you were able to do it. And in other areas of Canvas, you're able to do it. But in the email, I'm like, so it's kind of, I tell students, sorry, just do the old school way, copy paste, which, I mean, that goes against everything that we're trying to go with, right? Nowadays, in terms of making it easier for students. So that is definitely one feedback that I'm finding myself come across on a regular basis. That's a bit annoying. And I know that you've heard extra credit stuff. I'm still trying to figure that out. I know in Beachboard we had our separate thing, and I do have my grades weighted. And so I think I'm just going to put them in as fudge points at the end of exams or something like that. Unless there's another way, if you have a resource that I could look at. I've gone on the Canvas community trying to see how else can we do that. I did one way, like embedded it within a group of assignments that already have points assigned to that, right? But that changed the weighted percentage overall grade. So I was like, how else do I do this except through fudge points on an exam? Right? Is that the only way?
Are you talking about just an extra credit assignment? Or?
Yes. Yeah. Extra credit. Yeah.
There's Canvas doesn't have any built-in extra credit function. So, but there is a couple of workarounds. One of them is to put the extra credit assignment in a separate group that's weighted at 0. And then
That's
at the
weighted. at
end,
0.
it's weighted at 0, but at the end of the course, once everyone has turned everything in, then you can add weight to that extra group, and it will add on top of the total score.
Okay.
But you have to, the problem is that you have to wait till the end when everyone's turned everything in. But if you message out to students, that's what's going to happen.
Mhm.
And that works.
Okay. Or do
That's
the,
one workaround that Canvas suggests.
okay.
And I can show you how, we can show you how to do that in virtual support, or if you want to make an appointment with us, or I can actually, I'll see if I can find the resource that explains.
Okay, yeah, okay, great, thanks. Or fudge points, right, Chad? Is that the other?
Yeah, fudge points, that's the only actually built-in thing. In a
Yeah.
quiz, you can add fudge points. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
only real kind of built-in part. But in terms of the grade book itself and the assignment section,
Mhm.
you basically create kind of 0 weighted groups and then add your extra credit into there. And then you can add extra weight to the end.
Okay, all right,
Yeah, I'll find that resource that describes that.
okay. So I see in the grade book, there's a column that override. Is that another option?
You can use it that way. Override is really so that you can just, yeah, you can add random points to a total score. That allows you to do that.
Okay, so because I was thinking which way would be easier for me, because students want to see stuff, and I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll
That's easiest for you, not necessarily as transparent for students.
got it.
Whereas the 0 weight extra credit thing, they can actually see.
Yeah.
You can actually give them points for it, but you keep the weight at 0 to make it extra credit. Otherwise, Canvas tries to figure it into the total grade.
Okay, I think that makes a lot more sense. I think the problem was I was including it in an existing weighted group.
Yeah, and then it won't do extra
off,
credit.
yeah.
Then it tries to add it to the
Yeah,
total.
I was like, wait a second, hold on. So 0 weighted group assignment is what you're saying, yes? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. And
Yeah.
then that's so helpful. Oh, another thing, and if this is something that already exists, when I provide comments to submitted assignments, and students respond to those comments, I get one email, and I know you can sign up for daily, weekly, whatever. I get an email like there are these comments that students responded to. Is there any way that that exists now that I'm not aware of, where I can get a notification? Like, for example, when I get an email through Canvas, I have a notification in my inbox. Is there any way besides getting a daily email summary of comments that students respond to? Because, we get hundreds of emails, and I miss those comments. I miss those, because I think it's just like, oh, these people submitted stuff. And I'm like, okay, I don't, So is there any way that could happen? To get notification when students respond to the comments that you provide for the assignment, besides a daily email summary?
You can check your announcements or your notifications, sorry, in your setup. That's the only place I can think of. Diana, did you have an option or?
I did do that, and there's nothing for comments that students respond to in your comments. Unless I'm not seeing that correctly. So I'll just wait. Does anyone know?
See Diana unmuted, but Diana, if you're talking, we can't hear you.
I'm looking right now too. I'm not.
Yeah, I was gonna be looking for it. I'm not sure if there is any other way to change it other than in
Can
notifications.
can you remind me again? It's replies or comments to an announcement that you've done?
No. So let's say, okay, I graded an assignment and I leave
Mhm.
comments, feedback in their assignment. And I can give you an example if I could share my screen. And when students respond to that comment, I only get a notification, like a daily email notification, right? That summarizes. And because we get so many emails, it's like Canvas notification. I'm finding myself not not seeing that right away. As opposed to like the notification that, in the inbox, you have a 1 there or a 2, right? But
Mhm.
the comments within the assignment that I left, I'm not getting those notifications.
Are you doing that through SpeedGrader?
Yes,
Or-
speed grader. Mhm.
Under, if you go into notifications under course activities,
Okay,
and then at the top, you have to do the drop down for picking a course rather than just account level. You have to do it at the course level.
okay,
And there is a item that says submission comment. And it looks like it defaults to daily summary. So you might try that. I'm not sure.
that's
I
what I'm
believe that
getting.
I
Yeah,
believe that covers comments that students give back. So it defaults to daily. So if you go in there, and I can show you by screen share if that's easier, and you can set that to notify immediately.
yeah,
it
no,
looks like-
yeah, I'm getting that, but it's through an email as opposed to embedded in the system. You know,
Okay.
I'm getting
Yeah.
email notification. That's what I'm saying. But we have so many emails in general, right?
Yeah.
I
mhm,
get like 400 emails, so I'm just kind of like, oh, there's another submission comment. But
mhm.
because I get so many emails and they're titled Canvas summary,
Oh,
Yeah.
like
mhm,
how like when you get an email through Canvas, you get this notification. I'm like, oh, okay, I have an email.
Yeah. You have to be in Canvas to see those pop up right away. Unfortunately. Yeah.
yeah,
Because
that's-
the
Mhm.
way this, since it's a separate system all on its own, it has those messages, and yes, it directs into your email account, but as far as like you seeing the notification pop up right away, it's going to be only when you're in Canvas itself. It's not going to have any other kind of like pop-up options, kind of like an example would be like maybe with Microsoft Teams, where you have a notification pop up when a chat comes up scenario. It's only going to tell you through the notifications, which sends it through the email.
Yeah. And so I'm finding myself overlooking those responses to students, only because we get a lot of emails. I get a lot of emails.
well, that's another issue. You might want to go into your notifications and check out both your account level and your course level notifications, and maybe turn some of them off or turn them to like, daily or weekly summaries. And then that'll limit some of the emails that you're getting from Canvas.
But the notifications are through emails, not to Canvas. It's to
Correct.
email. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And
Oh,
that's
you get,
not,
you get email notifications of
Yeah.
lots of different things in Canvas, and you can toggle those off if you want. If you're getting too much in your email inbox,
Mhm.
that's because there's a lot of different notifications that you can get that are defaulted to either daily summaries, or some of them default to immediate, and that tends to start populating your email inbox with all those notifications. So you may
Yeah.
want to try turning some of those off, or
But then if I turn it off, I won't see that they submitted a response. Like if I ask them a question in their feedback and they respond to that within SpeedGrader, I don't get that notification except for at the end of the day, every day. So it's
yeah,
okay.
well, you can keep that on. You can keep like submission comments on, whereas you can turn off there's all different kinds of notifications you can get, like about file uploads, submissions, announcements, things like that you might just want to go in and turn some of those off, but you keep the submission comments on. It's just a suggestion.
Yeah. No, that's what I was thinking. Is there any other way? But if that's the only way, then yeah, that's
Canvas gives you all this extra power to configure all the different notifications that you get. So just go in there and check it out, and you might have a lot of them on, which is really filling your inbox up.
Mhm. Okay.
yeah. And one other, I don't know if you have a moment to check the chat, but our lead, one of our leads, Sabrina, had mentioned that there is an option in your Outlook, so a separate system that can set a rule where those particular notifications go to a different inbox, so you can check that inbox separately from your regular
Yeah, so I'll just kind of put Canvas submission comment, something like that.
Mhm. Yeah, you can do that so that you when put it somewhere on your menu there that lets you notice it once it pops up, but that rule will direct them to that folder versus seeing it directly in the inbox.
In the general inbox.
Mhm.
Inbox. Yeah. Okay, that's another really good suggestion too, because I use a lot of rules for email. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the last one. Sorry, I had a lot because I've been using Canvas this summer. Are we okay with time? Am I?
Yeah. We have plenty of time.
Claire, I just wanted to point out that I did put that link to how to do extra credit
Oh.
in that for you.
Okay. Oh, thank you so much. I got it. I think I'm going to do that because when I started doing the points, I was messing up their grades and I said, I'm going to stop until I figure it out. So I told them to just ignore all that I've already done, and it added more confusion. But I'm just trying to help them. So I know that in Canvas, we're encouraged to use SpeedGrader, which I have been using. And in the past with Beachboard Write, we have Turnitin where I can annotate. And we can't do that now with Canvas, right? Because now we're encouraged to use SpeedGrader.
You can annotate. It's just within Canvas, not with the Turnitin right now, I believe.
Right. Yeah. Because when I go on there, I have to click the %, and then it takes me to a separate website, Turnitin. And then I have to look at Turnitin and then look at SpeedGrader. And so here I am looking at 2 different screens as opposed to it being embedded in one.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's something that can be done in terms of like integration or having those two kind of work together.
Mm-hmm.
That's a question. I don't know.
Yeah, I understand. I grade every day in SpeedGrader and I check Turnitin reports, and yeah, we don't in Turnitin it's called GradeMark, and we don't have that turned on with our particular integration, but you can request to have what's called LTI 3.0, I think it's called, something like that, Jennifer or Jamie.
Yes.
You have to request it through the thing, but the problem with it is that when you turn that on, it turns off SpeedGrader. They can't function together.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we just recently learned this ourselves. We've been trying to deal with this because GradeMark and SpeedGrader have kind of parallel functionality.
Yeah.
So we decided not to turn on the GradeMark and Turnitin because you could do it in SpeedGrader and they cancel each other out, so to speak. But you can request it if you would rather use Turnitin and GradeMark and want a SpeedGrader to go away. Then we can do that for you on a one-on-one basis if you request it through our Canvas email. But it does tend to limit your functionality with SpeedGrader once you do that.
Yeah,
I can see that because there's some great things where Turnitin already have those saved comments.
Mm-hmm.
And SpeedGrader doesn't have that ability, right? We can't drag over those comments that we've used.
Yeah. Lim is online. He can speak more to that. He's the one that kind of trained us on all that, the whole GradeMark.
Sure. Yeah, I could add on to it. So trying to not to be technical because I can't tend to be super excited talking about this. But basically the idea was that Turnitin frame mark is built by Canvas. So it integrates much better in the Canvas tools. What's also nice about framework is that when students submit it to and Turnitin, it actually send it out to the Turnitin vendor. So in the rare cases when Turnitin is down, the system will just recheck itself. The LTI Turnitin 1.3, it's a different integration. And also what it does is that it reach out to Turnitin first and then comes back to the system. You'll have benefits such as using Feedback Studio, GradeMark, and additional tools, but it's also limit yourself in any close integration with Canvas. They don't run, we don't recommend running it in parallel because example is if a student uses submit it in FrameMark and then later on submit their another assignment in LTI 1.3, the system will think that it's 2 separate students because it's basically a different account. So it's one or the other.
Okay. So there's no way that Canvas can in SpeedGrader allow us to save comments that we can just drag over like we had in Turnitin.
Not at this time, but I'll bring it up to Canvas to see if they could further develop it in the system. Brightspace does integrate, their integration with Turnitin is really well. Canvas developers a little limited to it, but definitely I would say that not at this time, but we could definitely bring it up to the vendor and see if they could maybe put it in their roadmap.
Yeah, that'd be much appreciated.
Yeah, thanks for the input. We're definitely gonna put that in as a request.
Thank you. I'm gonna come back to you, Liam.
And I'll bug Canvas, continue bugging them some more.
Hey, Liam, come on now, make it happen. Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Those are all my questions.
Okay. Jamie, do you want to go and let the other questions show up? We'll go ahead and post the other ones, Claire, too. I know you had mentioned that you had something. I wasn't sure if you already mentioned it or not, but these were the other questions and you're the only one in the room right now, so you have us at your disposal.
Oh. Well, no, those were so far what with me working on this that I could think of. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. That's all really good stuff for us, and we've taken some notes and things like that. So definitely appreciate all your feedback and questions.
Hey, Claire, can I ask you a follow-up question?
Sure.
So did you say that you're unable to do embedded comments with SpeedGrader?
Drag the comments over in SpeedGrader, like save comments. So, like in Turnitin, you can save your comments and then just drag it over. In SpeedGrader, unless I'm not doing this correctly, I can't. There's a section of comments, right? That we can choose, but like with specific things and sentences.
Right.
Because you can embed comments directly into a paper.
Right. Right. Yeah. No, I'm using the comments, but there's another, and I did that also in Turnitin. I don't know how to explain.
Yeah, it's a feature within Turnitin that allows you to have a repository of statements and features from directly the instructor that they're accustomed by the instructor to save within Turnitin and be able to reuse them over and over again in various assignments.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you, Jennifer. I was like,
that would be a great resource.
Right, Chad?
Yeah, because when I grade, I have these like 60-page Word files with all my comments. Me too. And I'm constantly pasting comments in, and it would be nice to just be able to click something.
Yes, and that's what
I've never been able to find a really good tool that does that. Except on Word, you can do it with macros. And then you say you can do it on Turnitin, right? Correct.
Yeah. That's what I was just like, oh no, you're making it harder for me now. So I have to go in my Word document and look for those categories of comments. And it's just a pain, to have to copy, paste.
Right.
So thanks for validating that in terms of how difficult it is. And
I'm doing that like every night, basically.
Yeah, me too. So it's increased my workload in terms of grading, and that's something that we need to consider.
Yeah.
So Liam, I'm holding to
Sure, no problem. Please. What we could do is because it says provide them input, and we're also connected with all the CSUs, so we'll build some traction on it.
Yes, thank you.
Sure.
Okay. All right.
Anyone else have any questions for Claire? Claire, you might be on the spot now. Or if you have any other follow-ups, please feel free to ask.
Yeah, I'm okay. That this was I've been writing down notes that I was going to email, but I was just like, no, they have those forums. I want to engage as opposed to emails. It's so much better to speak, live as opposed to questions. So
yeah, no problem. Well then, we have some other workshops that are coming up. I don't know if you've taken a look at our workshop list. What's coming up next week, in fact, is our Canvas layout section, our Canvas layout workshop, and we have some staff best practices for orgs or course orgs, which is specific for staff, but if you are an instructor using any kind of org courses, that's something you can also attend. And then a Beachboard and Canvas comparisons also coming up in the following week. And then I think we have one more slide, right?
That's
Oh, that one's it. Okay. And that's it from us. Let me go ahead and post that link for you on our events.
yeah, just for any up and coming. The one we put on the PowerPoints are just the 3 latest one that's up and coming, but there we have the full fall semester on there. So there's going to be more additional dates, additional topics that we didn't have in the slide. Feel free to look on our website to see what any other sessions we have, since we do have the whole fall semester set up for you.
Thank you. Thanks for engaging in a conversation with me about this and your feedback. It's helpful because people in my department come to me and they ask me all these questions and I'm like, oh, be prepared. Don't wait until last minute. The learning
That's great.
curve- yeah, learning curve is a little, different. So depending on
Mhm.
comfort with technology. So I'm kind of like warning them, do it. Don't wait. So
That's good. I'm glad that someone's telling them that too.
thank you. Yeah. Oh, and the message is clear from ATS. So keep doing that.
All
'Cause
right.
we told you.
I'm
All right. Thank
glad to
you.
hear it.
Have a nice
No
weekend.
problem. Thanks,
Bye.
you too.
Okay, take care. Have a good one.
I saw your message, Sabrina. I'm checking it out right now.
Okay. Yeah, and I just glanced through it. It looks like it might actually just be restricted to the rubric, but yeah, take a look and see if it'll help in any way.
Yeah. It's the library of comments that
Okay.
use it.
Mm.
Yeah. It's just the
Sorry,
other-
I tried to find something.
Yeah. So I'm just finding myself like, put text and then paste the comment in that text within
Yeah.
paper. So it's a little pain. So if we can make it better. Thank you.
Yeah,
Take
no
care.
problem. Thank
Bye,
you. You
Claire.
too.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, thanks so much. Good Friday.
Great
Awesome.
job,
Good work,
everybody.
guys. Yeah, thanks, Chad, for all your years of experience.